Hello. It's a pretty dreary day out here in Tennessee today, but I'm doing a few projects and I just wanted to cover how to be at your cabin when you can't be at your cabin. So come check it out. So being 8 hours away and sometimes up to 5 months in between visits, you can kind of get a little crazy about what's happening at your cabin. One of the first things to help you out are, of course, cameras. And I have four, and I'm going to have a fifth here shortly, just to keep an eye on things on the outside. You know, who's parking in the parking lot, what's the weather conditions like, what's going on by the neighbor's place. And it kind of eases your mind. You can just pop the cameras on and just see what's happening at any given time. Now, I always believe in backups to have a backup system. So I have two different camera systems. And the first one is basically like a small computer, and it's housed with a hard drive, and it can continuously record through four cameras in HD, and it can also sense motion. It can send you emails when there's motion, and you can use an app and look on your phone and check things out. So this is housed in a closet that's locked, and I'm the only one who can get to it when I get here. And it's just, it's probably the most popular and cheapest type. I actually paid less than $100 for it. It came with four cameras. I had to buy a hard drive later, so that probably added another $60 to the cost. And it'll continuously, as I said, record, and then once it fills up, it'll just start erasing over the oldest footage. It was pretty easy to install. All the cameras are hardwired though, but for me to just go out of the closet here and through the side wall, and then I tucked all the camera wire into the trim and soffits outside underneath the eaves. It went up pretty quick, and I was just using some Phillips screws to put the cameras in, and that was it. Well, here's what it looks like on my phone, and if you look down in the bottom right, I had to replace that camera, and that one was not working, but it gives me a view of the parking area, and this is a lot of times helpful, especially in the winter time, to know what the conditions are like. If a new renter's coming, I can let them know if there's snow, if there should be some caution taken. And I keep other couple views too, one that shoots right out front and one that shoots off to the side. This one shoots kind of off in the back. And this one was the one that tipped me off last year that I had a little landslide. So just being able to pop a camera on and check things out around there kind of gives you a little peace of mind what's happening, and it makes you feel closer than you actually are. So as I said, this unit uses this type of camera, and this is the one I'm going to replace that was bad on the bottom right. It's a 1080p camera, only $20 to replace it. And that's not, to me, that's not bad. I think this one went bad because I have it shining in the west and the sun hits it in the evenings, and I think the sun takes its toll on it over time. So this system's been pretty reliable. It's not 100% foolproof, and that's why I kind of like to have a backup. So I have a couple blink cameras at home, and I decided to purchase some to bring out here and put those up also as a backup camera. They have a couple other features that this other one doesn't. You could actually talk through it if you wanted to. I'm not so much interested with that. It does have a microphone. It can listen. But it's just another camera as a little backup. It works on Wi-Fi. It stores your video in the cloud, and it comes with a free account. And that's one thing I liked over the Blink as compared to some of the other cameras such as Ring, where you might have to pay a monthly fee for their storage. Where this is free. It's limited, but it's pretty sizable. So this one's a two-camera system. It comes with a little hub that communicates with the two cameras, and then that hub, of course, communicates with your Wi-Fi. So I was able to use my existing account and then just add a new area for the camera. So I have a Tennessee area, and then I have my home area, and it added more storage. And these I have set up just to detect when there's motion, so it's not filling up all the storage, and it only triggers. You can actually set different zones in the picture area of the camera to be ignored in case you have a lot of traffic going by, or birds, or a tree blowing in the wind. So these are my cleaners, and this camera just kind of gives me a wider angle of the parking area and the driveway. And not only does it record motion, but you can see a live view at any time you want to. The battery life is supposed to be up to 2 years. I find that that's probably more like 6 months to a year, just depending on how often something triggers the camera and how often you turn it on to look at something. But they're pretty foolproof to set up. They're easy, and it doesn't take any wiring. It just needs a Wi-Fi signal, and you're up and running, and it helps you be closer to where you need to be. So we do quite well when it comes to rentals here, but I thought there would be a lot of days where we'd be in between renters and I would need to adjust my thermostat or just turn it down because no one was going to be there for a while. So I have two smart thermostats because I have two HVAC units, and it is helpful because a lot of times some people might not be familiar with the thermostats. They might have air conditioning going on upstairs and heat going on downstairs. So it's nice to keep an eye on things and just check things out. And there might be some unusual things too, like we'll have the fireplace running in the wintertime and then somebody will want to turn the air conditioner on, and it's kind of a big no-no to have the AC on when it's 30 degrees out. So a lot of times I can override that. I could call these people and say, hey, is there a problem? Why is the air conditioner running? It just kind of maybe play dumb, but just to keep an eye on the place and not make it look like I'm being too much of a mother hen. So all smart thermostats make it pretty easy to set up a schedule, and that's usually what I do, and then the renters can of course override that stuff in case they need to. But it is helpful to have a schedule to shut things off and turn things back on. And the only regret I have is the Nest thermostat, which is the one I'm highlighting here, is a learning one, and sometimes it'll learn the habit of one renter, and I'll have to erase that because it may not be the same habits of another renter. So if I had to do it again, I might trade the Nest in for this other Ecobee, and that's what I have up on the second floor. It's pretty simple, it's pretty straightforward, a little touchpad for them. Same interface on the app when you look at it on your phone, and it's not learning, so you just set up a schedule and you just go from there. But having two HVAC units is a backup, and same thing with having two smart thermostats is a backup also. So there is times we've had the rental cabin and one of the units have failed, but they still had the option of using the other one temporarily, and it didn't ruin their whole trip until we could get a service guy out there. So when we first got into the rental business, I wasn't sure how often our cabin would be rented, so I went with a smart hot water tank also that you can adjust the temperature on. And the theory being, if I didn't have a renter in here for like a week or two, I could just turn down the thermostat and save a little on the electricity. But we rent pretty frequently, and we rarely have open days, so it's not necessarily for us to use it, but there is an option to have your hot water tank controlled via Wi-Fi. Same principle with the hot tub. They also make Wi-Fi controlled hot tubs where you can control the thermostat there also. It's not necessary for us, but it is an option out there. And we have a backup to our smoke detector and a carbon monoxide detector also. And this is also Wi-Fi enabled, and it's considered a smart device. And if it should go off, it's going to give me a warning on my phone and tell me whether there's a CO or a smoke detector emergency. And if I need be, I can call and see what's going on or call the fire department. So this is in addition to the regular smoke detector system that's hardwired into our cabin. Now that white box is considered a smart hub. And basically that hub talks to a lot of other smart devices such as door locks, light bulbs, smoke detectors, etc. This hub is manufactured by a company called Wink, W-I-N-K, comes with the phone app also, and talks to so many different smart devices and doesn't require special accounts for each one. Here's the smoke detector right now. It tells me that the batteries are okay, that the CO and the smoke, everything is okay, and if there should be a problem, I would get an alert or a notification on my phone. So you'll find if you don't use a hub like this, you might have to pay certain fees for like your door locks or a monthly fee for monitoring your smoke detector. So the hub kind of coordinates through all these smart devices and eliminates the use of separate accounts for each one and combines them all together in this nice little app. And these are just the things that I'm concerned with, but there's a multitude of sensors out there that this Wink Hub can talk to. For example, if you have an issue where you might think you have a water problem with a sump pump, there's water sensors that will notify you that there's a water leak in the house. There's one that will also notice if your water is running, so if you have a pipe burst, it will actually shut the water off. You could have sprinklers on timers and just a multitude of sensors that you could buy. And the Wink app will show you exactly what sensors it talks to and what you could add. So smart door locks are very handy, especially for a rental cabin, because you can just give your renters a code. You can change the code if you need to. You could have multiple codes. So I usually change the rental code fairly often. I have a special code just for the cleaner, so I know when the cleaner is coming in. And having a touchpad is very nice. It does run on batteries. It does talk to my Wink hub. It will give me a notification anytime the door is opened. I could have one that tells me that the door's been open past 11 o'clock and automatically lock at 11 p.m. There's just a multitude of settings that you could have. So here's what it looks like on the Wink app. We also have the same lock at home. So if you were to just swipe to the right and it would lock the door. Also, if I had, say, a service guy come in here and I could turn on the camera, see when he shows up, and I could swipe to the left and open the door for him. It's also going to give me a notice that the door opened. I can monitor what the battery use is and what the power is, and I can change multiple codes. So I have a code that I use for the cleaner, and it'll tell me when the cleaners have opened the door, and I have a code for renters. We have our own owner code, and we swap the rental code out multiple times a month. So it comes very helpful. A lot of times we might use just the last four digits of somebody's phone number for them to easy to remember the code, and then change it for the next renter. So this has helped us out a great deal, just being able to change the codes and monitor the door when it's open and closing, being able to monitor the battery, and it's just been very helpful. Helps us manage the cabin without any outside resources. So I've talked about backups, and certainly we have a backup to the door lock also. And if something were to happen, the batteries were to die prematurely, or there'd be a failure of the door lock, we could give them this code, and there's a key in there for the cabin temporarily for them to use until we could have the lock straightened out. Weather is always ever changing up here on the mountain, and it's a good idea for us to monitor the weather. I just kind of like to know what's happening. Sometimes it's a lot different compared to what it is down below in the city of Pigeon Forge. So we have a little weather station. It kind of monitors your basics. So I really like to monitor the wind because you can get some pretty good gusts up there. Now, most I've recorded so far is 80 miles per hour. And that's probably not the peak gust because of where the meter is located, but that still gives me an idea just how bad or just how windy it was up there. We also have a little rain gauge, let us know how much rain has been coming down. And like I said, I can monitor this on my phone app. So not only can you get current conditions and a history of things that have gone on, you can get a graph for the last week or the last 30 days, see how much rain has fallen, what the wind's been doing, what the temperatures have been like, and it's just very helpful. Helps you kind of be there when you're not really there. Because our previous cabin had asphalt shingles on it, and sometimes when I'd see the weather station, we'd get a good gust of wind. It would remind me to check out the roof the next time we go down there to see if we had lost any shingles. Now, I've mentioned all these hubs and these smart devices, and they are little computers in there, and periodically they do need to be reset. And one unfortunate thing is if something needed to be reset, you're 8 hours away and maybe a couple months out. So if your cameras went out, you'd have to wait till your next visit to reset them. But now I have these smart outlets, and I can control some of these things and actually reset them just by turning these smart outlets off and turning them back on. So where I might have had to have the cleaner maybe do it for me, or like I said, wait, I could just go to my phone now. It's real easy. I just turn one of the outlets off for 30 seconds and then turn it back on. And that usually takes care of my camera or my hub, and they're back online. So that's a couple of things that I do when I can't be at our cabin. So I hope you like these videos. Hope you subscribe. Hope you enjoy them. And keep an eye on us. Take care.